In this video, I'm gonna walk you through all the setup that is required to get your ADF applications to use the JAAS feature of the SDK E-Business Suite SDK for Java. So the first thing you need to have is on your WebLogic domain. You need to set up a couple of things. The first is to actually set up a data source. This data source will connect directly to the E-Business Suite database instance as the apps user, but in a secure way or in a proper way. And this uses the SDK for Java as well. The second part of the setup that you need to do is to define a security realm. This realm is the one that basically contains all the users and roles that you will manage into your applications that your applications will use. But in this case, this realm has a specific or very particular element, and that is that it will use this external authenticator, which is a security provider that uses the e-business suite as the security authentication method. So by defining the external authenticator, or by using the external authenticator, you will be pulling on validating all the users against e-business suite, the users and roles. The external authenticator by default doesn't come with the regular installation of WebLogic server, and basically one of the steps of the setup steps in order to get the external authenticator is to recompile and generate a DBC file and recompile this jar file that is provided through the My Oracle support node. And then after you recompile this jar file with all the e-business suite instance information, you will add it into your libraries or into your libraries, deployment libraries for WebLogic server. And once you bounce the server, the external authenticator will be one of the providers that you can select. And once you define all of that, and this setup is very well explained on my Oracle support node that I specified on the blog entry. So I'm not gonna walk you through the whole setup process. But once you define this, you can go into your actual ADF application, and in your ADF application, you're gonna use the ADF security. So ADF security is different than Java container security, and we add a lot more functionality, and we provide a very visual and declarative approach of defining security for your entire application. So when you have once you define security, in this case, in this application, I have already set up authentication and authorization by using the ADF security. You will walk through this wizard, and after that you can define a series of grants to the resources that belong to your application. In the application, I have two task flows, and these task flows are protected or secure. So if you see, one of the task flows is accessible by a role called manager. The other task flow is actually accessible by the employee, and these roles are defined as enterprise roles within my ADF application. As you can see, I don't have any users because the users are in the e-business suite instance, and they also, and these enterprise roles map directly to the e-business suite instance roles that are defined in there. In this ADF application, I have a landing page, and this landing page is unprotected, and it will be my entry point to the application. But once I start the demo and navigate to my welcome page, I will be trying to access two areas that are protected and one region that is not protected or is static. The way I control security in these two regions is by actually using the ADF security framework, and just by a simple EL expression accessing the security context, that is provided through ADF security, I can validate whether or not a certain region or a certain element is viewable by the role that is actually authenticated. Okay, so I can use the same expression for both regions, and then I can see the results. Okay, so let's run this application and let's see the runtime behavior. So this is my ADF application landing page. I'm prompted by credentials, so let's use one of the credentials of the users. So I have three users. One is manager, emp, and the other one uses both, so it will access both task flows. So if I use any of the either manager or emp, I authenticate. Might type this wrong. Okay. So as you can see, I have access to only one of the regions. I don't have the second region, and it is not visible to me. So I can see I'm logged in as the JAAS manager, and I can navigate within my region or my task flow, and I have access to the static content. If I take a second browser window and I try to access the same application, but let's say this time using the role that has access to both task flows, so I say both, and an access, then my ADF security actually allows me to access both protected areas, because this role has access to both. Okay, so this is a very simple sample, but at the same time, in this case, all of the security is handled by the E-Business Suite instance using the JAAS feature for E-Business Suite SDK for Java. Thank you.